Hey everyone, it's Mr. Montgomery again. Today we are starting a whole brand new unit. We're on Unit 7, Lesson 1, and here we're going to learn how to count by tens, and what that even means, and how we can try to make this a little bit easier so this doesn't feel overwhelming. And I know there's some crazy smart first graders out there that know how to count by tens, but a lot of us don't. So let's figure out a nice easy way how to break this down. So make sure you have your Robot Turtle book open, and you are on page 285. That's a 2 in the hundreds place, an 8 in the tens place, and a 5 in the ones place. And once you're there, we're going to continue. If you're not there, you need a second, hit that space bar, and then start it again whenever you're all set. Okay, so let's go ahead and read this little story problem that they set up for us. Alex, this feels so bizarre. That's my name. That's my first name. So anyway, Alex put counters in some 10 frames. How can you find out how many counters there are without counting each one? Right, the number. That is so many. Okay, so they're giving us a little bit of a curveball here. We're not allowed to count these red dots one at a time. Instead, they want us to be like big first graders and figure out how to do this the big kid way. So I'm going to show you guys the really easy way to do this. Okay, so here's the first step. The very first thing we got to do is put a number on top of each one of these counters. So we're going to, not counters, 10 frames. Silly me. So we're going to count these out. So this is one 10 frame. This is the second 10 frame. This is 3. This is 10 frame number 4. Here's number 5. I know it's a little tough to see. I'll try and make it bold for you guys. Okay, and then we're just going to keep numbering these until we run out of 10 frames to number. Because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we have 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we have 10 frames. This is a ton. And this would be a lot of counting, and it would take us quite a while to count every single one of these red dots on this page, and you'd probably go bananas, but we don't want to go bananas. So let's figure this out. So we know that we have a set of 10, right? And this is the first one. And you know what's really kind of funny? If we just add a 0 right after that 1, we have the number 10. So this is one 10 frame, and we have 10 counters. And we know that. We've been working with these all school year. So this is a really cool, easy way to figure out how many red dots or red counters you have in total when you have full 10 frames. All we have to do is number the 10 frames, add a 0 to the end, and that tells you how many. So if I were to circle these 4 10 frames right here, how can we figure this out first? Before we get to this huge number, how can we figure this out? Well, first we number them just like we did here, and then you just add a 0 to the end. 0 and 0. And now we know we have 40 red dots total in these 10 frames. That's it. I promise you, it is that simple. That's all there is to it. So let me just erase that right there so we can go back. So we have 30 and we have 40. And the reason why we're doing this is because when you have 10 frames, I'm going to draw a little chart real quick. If you have a 10 frame full, that means we have 2 different place values. We have a tens place and a ones place. And if we're talking about just this, I know my circle is super ugly today. I don't know what's wrong with me, but bear with me. So if we are just talking about this one 10 frame, that means we have one set of 10, right? And we have 0 ones. That's all we're saying. And if we were to go back and say, you know what about these 3 10 frames? Well, if you have 3 sets of 10, We have 3 10s. Do we have any 1s off to the side? No. So we have 0 1s. And that makes the number 30. So that's all we're really doing. So I just wanted to take a second to do that real quick to explain that to make sure there's no confusion. So going back to the easy way to figure this out, when you have a whole bunch of 10 frames like this, instead of going bananas and counting all these one at a time, number the 10 frames, and then we add a 0 at the end. And that is a nice, easy way to figure this out without going bananas, because we know we're not going to have any leftover 1s. So now that we have them all numbered, and we added our 0s for our 1s place, now we know that every single 10s frame has a 10s place and a 1s place. And now we can count, or just read these numbers off, instead of trying to do some mental math and trying to add on and count. So let's go ahead and just say these numbers together to make sure that we know our big numbers, because sometimes we forget them. So we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So if we have 6 sets of 10, that's 60. If we have 7 sets of 10, that's 70. If we have 8 sets of 10, that's 80. 9 sets of 10 is 90. And 10 sets of 10 is 100. And that is a headache of a number. It's a huge number. I'm pretty sure it's the biggest number we've worked with all year. So now we can go back and answer this question. How many counters do we have in all? Well, we have our answer right here. 100. So we have 100 counters. Okay. I'm hoping this is already making some sense. If not, don't sweat it. We're going to go to the next page and we're going to do a couple of practice problems together. Alright, so go ahead over to page 286 and then we're going to keep on going and practice this new skill. Okay, if you need another quick second, pause the video when you need to. You guys know that already, but I'm going to keep on going. So they're kind of breaking this down the same way we were kind of doing it on that first practice problem that we did together. So first they're asking us, how many 10s do we have, right? How many 10 frames do we have that are filled? And of course, we can just number these right on top, just like we did before. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we have 4 10s. Okay? And they're asking now, well, how much is 4 10s? What big number does this make? And do me a favor, don't look up here and cheat. Let's do the actual work so you know what we're doing. Because when it comes to the big test time, or, you know, real life, for example, you're going to need to kind of know this stuff. This is something that you guys are going to do all the time. So our little easy peasy way is to just add a 0 after we know how many 10s. Add a 0 at the end of each number. And what big number do we have at the end? We have 40. So that's how they got 40 in that spot. And now they want us to do one extra step. They want us to know some big math vocabulary, which does get tricky. So for this, I am going to say, yes, look at the top for the spelling, because sometimes spelling can be a little tricky if you have some trouble with sounding out some words, which is okay. Everyone works at their own pace. So, how do we spell the word 40? Because we have the number 40. Well, it's F-O-R-T and a Y. If you don't put that Y, you're going to have the word fort, which is kind of like a clubhouse, right? We don't want to have a clubhouse. We want the number 40. Okay. So, I'm going to have you guys try the next one. But we're going to do this one step at a time. So first, I want you to write down how many 10s do we have for number 2. And I'll give you guys a quick second. Alright. That should have been super fast. So if you're not done yet, pause it. I do want you to try this on your own, because that's the only way we really get better. Okay, so I'm going to number these just like we did before. I have 1 10 frame. 2 10 frames and 3 10 frames. So I have 3 sets of 10. But how much is 3 10s? Now I'm going to give you guys a moment again to write down the big bad number for what 3 sets of 10s makes. Alright, I'm sure that many of you are done, so we're going to speed up. If you need more time, as always, just pause the video. And I'm going to use my little easy peasy trick. Put a 0 at the end. I have 10. Put a 0 at the end. Now I have 20. Put a 0 at the end here. I have 30. So now I know that 3 10s is 30. But how on earth do we write that word? Well, for this, we're going to just look at the top, and it's right there. We found the number 30, and there's the word 30. When it comes to math, guys, I don't know about your teacher. I'm not super stressed about your spelling. I mean, it's always a great idea to practice your spelling, but with math, I am super focused on making sure you understand the numbers and the process to it. All right? So, now that we finished number 2 and we got a little practice, let's go to the next page, page 287, and let's get a little bit more practice in before I let you guys just go nuts and do this totally on your own. Okay, now we're all set on the next page. So I'm going to have you guys try number 3 completely on your own, and then we're going to go over it together. Now, you can do this whichever way you want. If you can just count these out really quick, and you can write the numbers down, and you do the mental math, awesome. That is fantastic. If you need to take a different approach like we did before, by numbering all of them, and then adding your zeros, that's fine too. But I want you to do number 3 completely on your own, and then we will go over it together. So go ahead, pause the video, give it a shot, and then when you hit that spacebar again and unpause the video, it will be back to me already helping you out. So if the video is playing right now, I'm hoping you did the right thing and you tried number 3 totally on your own. So let's go over it. So for my friends that need a little bit more of a visual and like to number them, let's make sure you numbered them correctly. We didn't skip any numbers by accident. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we have 7 10 frames, which means we have 7 sets of 10. So we have 7 10s. But what big number does that make? Well, remember, all we got to do is add zeros after each of these. And that gives us the big number that each set of 10 makes. So we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So 7 10s makes 70. And if you don't know how to spell 70, take a moment, go back to the previous page and find it really quick, and it will tell you exactly how to spell the word 70. And did you check it real quick? Because I have a feeling that some people kind of skip that part. Okay, the word 70. There you go. Just in case you want to check your spelling. That's all I'm doing right there. Okay, we will do one more while I have you guys try completely on your own, number 4, but this is going to be the last one, and then you're going to do number 5 and 6 totally on your own, okay? So hit the space bar, give it a shot, and then we're going to go over it together. Alright, and if the video is playing right now, that means that, well, I'm hoping it means that you did your best to try it on your own, and you're ready to check your answers. Okay, so first things first. And since we're a little limited with space, I'm going to number these kind of weird. So, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And since there's no space right there, I'm going to go down here. I have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. We have some super big numbers right here. So this is going to get a little crazy, so really focus. So how many 10s do we have? Well, we numbered our 10 frames, and each 10 frame is a set of 10. And we got all the way to 12, so that means we have 12 10s. But what big number does that make? Well, let's use our little trick and just add a 0 to the end of each 10 frame. So, add a 0 there, we got 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, here's where it gets tricky, 110, so after 100, it kind of starts over again, except we add the word 100 or 100 before we say 10 again, but then it just starts all over again. So we got to 110, what's after 10? Little hint up here. 20. So it's 100, 120. Now, a lot of times you guys will hear adults say 100, but normally that just means 100. We got to make sure we say that 1 because we now have a 1 in the hundreds place. So it's 120. So 12 tens gives you 120. Now, for us to write this out, there's going to be a lot of words. You ready? This would not hurt you at all to write this with me. 100, and I can't fit the word 20 because my pen is writing too big. 120. There you go. So, from here on out, go ahead and do number 5 and 6 totally on your own. And I have a feeling your teacher is going to want you to also try to do the next page on your own as well, but page 288, and try your best. It is revolving all around the same stuff we talked about already, guys. So this isn't a super crazy hard lesson. I'm hoping that this is all making sense. Try your best. Do your best. You guys are awesome. I will see you next video. And I hope you guys have a great day. See you later.